Back in 2015, my wife and I had some ATVs, Polaris ATVs. She had a Ace single-seater sit-in 325cc, and I had a much older 300cc two-stroke sit-on-top ATV, and we decided to take a trip up to the UP of Michigan in Keweenaw County, the little finger that sticks out into Lake Michigan. And I just rediscovered the video from that trip, so here it is. Come along for the ride. So as you can see, my wife's machine is a Polaris Ace 325cc, and it's a sit inside like a little go-kart. And mine was an older sit-on-top 300cc two-stroke. The route we chose took us out Highway 41 past Copper Harbor and into the heart of the Keweenaw in all the backwoods, around to Bettigree, a couple of lakes, up to Brockway Mountain, and back to Copper Harbor, where we were staying at Fort Wilkins State Park. But the first leg goes from Fort Wilkins State Park out to Horseshoe Harbor. The video is long gone for that, but here's a couple of shots of Horseshoe Harbor. From Horseshoe Harbor, we took a circuitous route out to High Rock Bay, and the reason we took that type of route is because that was the only way you could get there. We tried a couple of shortcuts, they didn't work out. And again, that video is lost to history. But we did arrive at High Rock Bay, and here's a couple of shots of that. When we left High Rock Bay, we headed towards Keystone Bay, and it's amazing how many of these trails lead to nowhere. After a few of those, we did actually find our way to Keystone Bay, and Keystone Bay is the most beautiful sand beach one could ever find, and to find it on the shore of Cold Lake Superior is just amazing in and of itself. So here's a little bit of the footage of that route. gotta say, on this route, we were not using a GPS. There is no cell service. So we were using maps, and the maps back then weren't very good. And we were also trying to utilize our memory of previous trips up there on our three-wheelers and things like that. But again, it's just amazing how many of these roads lead to nowhere. After more than a few wrong turns, we did actually make it to Keystone Bay, and stopped and had some lunch. Again, Keystone Bay is just beautiful. And after we left Keystone Bay, we headed towards the Bear Belly Lodge, which unfortunately is no longer there. Used to be a great place to stop and have a drink and get something to eat. And now it is just a bit of a rest stop and grocery store-ish, but they do still have lodging. Out the main trail, off the main trail out to Keystone Bay, is rougher than any of the other trails. It is by no means undoable or not really technical. It is just definitely rougher. I've not seen a car make it down this trail, whereas most of the other trails, even out to High Rock Bay, I have seen cars and small SUVs make it out there. Not on this one. It was fun though. Made it to the Bear Belly Lodge down in Bettigree. We stopped and had a drink and then headed off to Gratiot Lake, or Lake Gratiot, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyways, that's where we headed to. left Bearbelly Lodge, we had to do a little bit of road riding to find the trail over to Gratiot Lake. And then it was a pretty decent trail the whole way. On this section here, it was smooth, it was fast, and there was no way I could keep up. So occasionally she'd wait and see if I was still behind her. But yeah, incredibly flat, smooth, fast here. Pretty much just a gravel road. So when you are out in nature, sometimes nature calls, and sometimes the call is urgent, and often. We did make it to Gratiot Lake, stopped and had a snack, and took a short rest, and then it was on towards Brockway Mountain. Took a little while to get there, a few wrong turns and bad trails, but we got there, and that's the highest point in the Keweenaw as far as I know. And from there, back to Fort Wilkins State Park, and a couple of beers by the campfire. It was a good trip. So thanks for coming along for the ride, and thanks for watching.